Hello, Astro friends. It's Melanie on the 14th of October 2025. I'm greeting you from my grainy sepia living room and office space. Yeah, this is what the camera is like, so maybe you find it nostalgic. Anyway, let's look into the astro weather for the week. And yes, we're probably, you might be still digesting the super moon, the super harvest moon we've had on the 6th of October. And now we are moving towards the cuspy tipping point new moon on the very last degree of Libra. And so we're in the winding down phase of the waning moon towards newness, and that newness will bring a lot of Scorpio energy. So let's look into what's up this week, building up to the new moon, and I also have the new moon chart for you. We have had a shift yesterday. Today's the 14th. On the 13th, yesterday, Venus entered Libra. She came out of Virgo, where she is typically not as happy because there's so much to do. There's so many things to tend to that we are drawn to. And that could have kept us very busy, or maybe also a little exhausted given the south node in Virgo. But Venus is now in Libra in one of her domains, and we're having beautiful Venus in Libra weather, I must say, here on the peaceful Pacific West Coast. Everything is calm. The ocean and where the ocean and the sky meet, it's just a beautiful, peaceful, calm, tranquil horizon out there. I wish I could convey something of that to you. You can always see my pictures, of course, my photos on my Facebook page from walks by the ocean or elsewhere. Yeah, so Venus is in Libra now since the 13th yesterday until November the 6th. So she's the last planet actually to move through Libra. She is behind the rest of the personal, or rather fast-moving planets, in other words, Mercury and Mars. Mars is currently ahead in Scorpio, to be met and passed by Mercury on the 19th of September. And then Venus is back in Libra together with the Libra Sun. This looks like this, by the way. Here's already the chart. Can't hold back. Chart for the Libra new moon, where you can see the Sun and the Moon together on the very cusp from Libra to Scorpio. But Venus now in Libra since yesterday. She's only here because the new moon will be 21st. And as you see, right, so there's Mercury and Mars ahead and Lilith. And Venus is sort of tagging on here behind. So it is, Venus is in her domain, but she's not super strong when she's not leading, right? So we know also from what's going on in the socio-political, especially geopolitical world, peace is so desired, peace is so needed, and humanity needs real peace and negotiations, not just pacification agreement. And Venus in Libra has been definitely playing her part in that, in air trine, in a beautiful trine of three trines aligning in a triangle between Venus in Libra. Today, it happened yesterday, today, that air trine, actually today, with the Uranus in Gemini here, both on the cusp, and with Pluto retrograde, out of retrograde, freshly. I'll talk about that in a second, in early Aquarius. So very cuspy energy here. And so this one lends itself a lot to opportunities to actually find peace within, find peace, harmony, find right relationship with your peers, with your peeps, and also when communication goes unexpected, let's put it that way, from Uranus in Gemini, or when you have hear more disturbing and unsettling news, which is also Uranus in Gemini. How can you come into your peace, into your inner peace? This morning, when the sun was shining in so beautiful, I felt spontaneously called to sit and meditate with the sun on the back, and that morning sun was wonderfully warm, and it was a beautiful energy to come to a peaceful mind and a peaceful heart. And from that place, of course, choices, which are very much apropos Libra and Venus, choices can be made in a more loving way, which is the idea also of Venus in Libra. Choosing love, choosing from love. Then also actually, since today the moon has been in Leo, tomorrow still, so Leo rules the heart, Leo rules love and self-love, right? So self-loving activities can bring us back into our peace and harmony, and we have so much more to give from that place. So this much for Venus for now, and as I mentioned before, Pluto went direct yesterday on the 13th also. Pluto in early Aquarius, barely 2 degrees, 1.5 degrees in fact. Aquarius went from retrograde, where Pluto's been since May the 4th, now direct again, which is the rhythm every year, typically May to October retro, October to May direct, and a definitely significant marker to find now not just power within, but also act and manifest and let that inner power, that soul power, also our connection with our kin, whom we have a soul relationship with, very Aquarius, right? Let that guide you into external transformation and empowerment. Since Pluto in Aquarius still on until 2043-44, in fact, is all about our shared and empowered humanity, which is coming through so powerfully now. This is the first time that Pluto changed directions from retro to direct since it's fully in Aquarius, which has been the case since since November 19th last year. And so things are really underway on this Aquarian world of humanity, solidarity, collaboration, and everything relating to, yeah, the future of a new era, in fact, that we're holding that vision, and it's very inclusive. It's all about sharing. It's beyond the subordination, exploitation, abuse, of people in by governments or by elites, and we know the spiel. And this is just coming out. The shadow is coming out very blatantly now. Pluto is, of course, also a shadow revealing energy, which, of course, catalyzes the change. Right? So, yeah, Venus in trine with Pluto, Pluto changing directions, and then Uranus also being involved. Lots of energy currently in the air element. So Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius in early Gemini, and there it's about voice, right? So voicing voicing our values, voicing what's important for us, taking a stand with Victorian and Gemini also voicing that, communicating that. Not in a divisive way, because Uranus in Aquarius can be very disruptive and divisive, but the invitation is to awaken from this division, which has, of course, served interests that divide and rule. But awakening from that helps us to actually co-create from the Aquarius perspective with diversity, with people who have different views, but that doesn't mean they have to be our enemies, or we don't have to um, let that derail us, right? So this is all about also walking our talk and conveying, and not just conveying, but actually modeling what we would like to see in the world. Then we have this week coming up, speaking of Gemini being ruled by Mercury. Mercury is now in Scorpio for its first phase. That's October 6th until 29th. Then Mercury comes back into Scorpio from the 18th of November till the 11th of December, because Mercury will go retrograde in November. And so it is already quite ahead in Scorpio. And as I showed you before in the chart, it's about to pass Mars and then later Lilith. I marked it here. Mercury passes Mars on the 19th and Lilith on the 24th of October. So this Mercury-Mars connection is pretty strong this week until Mercury moves on. So we might have again, not just might, it's pretty clear, it's out there, very controversial, very even aggressive and violent discussions, and at the same time it's also such an energy for thinking more deeply, right? So also to look at what's actually running the show, and what is going on deeper psychological levels when people talk in a certain way or repress something or have a certain cognitive dissonance or bias, and don't see the obvious that you might see. So you can call it out, but you can also look at this whole phenomenon and see how beliefs and mental conditioning has shaped society. And so Scorpio, as I said, looks under the surface, reveals things that are uncomfortable, even to say, and definitely to hear. And so, yet it might be really the time for it. And we can still be gentle at the same time. This alignment is also in a water trine with Jupiter in Cancer. So Jupiter in Cancer, of course, is this big notion this year to be really embracing of our whole human family, and to be caring about our children and families out in the world, and of course also in our own world, and to so a sense of belonging, versus like shadow of Jupiter in Cancer is tribalism. So we want to outgrow tribalism, where we just have more confirmation of what we already know and think, but and be again more open and inviting discussions, even if they're uncomfortable, but at the same time, from a Jupiter perspective, be kind and treat them like family in a good way, right? So this alignment, so that water trine, is also filling up with the Piscean dynamic of the North Node, right? So we have a grand water trine here building up from Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, and Lilith, and also here that whole continuum of the North Node in connection with Saturn retrograde and Neptune also re-entering Pisces. As I said, a lot of water energy and a lot of air energy as well. And as you see in the chart, there's 0 earth element at this point, which is rare. And what does that mean? The only earth factor is in fact the south node in Virgo. And that is not a really great balance regarding being grounded and being pragmatic and looking at the facts, right? That's very earthy, and also so really emphasizing values, the body, common sense, stability, security, all of that would be earth element. And it is okay to ride out this non-earth element energy, but it would be also good to intentionally bring that in. So literally go for walks, sit on the earth, ground yourself, connect with nature, and also take care of the body, nutrition, all of that. And so that new moon will be on the cusp, as I said, of Libra to Scorpio. This is where choices lead to change or transformation. It's like a diving board, and it's call it the tipping point. So it's like the scales are tipping here. It's literally the last degree of Libra. I haven't looked up the Sabian symbol yet, but I will and include it in the article, of course, for that. Then, as you see in the chart, and I marked that also, there is several cusps activated. The new moon, also Pluto at the very beginning of Aquarius, where it's all about the power of collaboration. Also, Saturn and Neptune on this cusp from Pisces to Aries. Neptune literally the last day this year in Aries on the new moon day, because Neptune will go back into Pisces on the 22nd of October. So going into that in a second. Just pointing out the last one still again. Uranus on the cusp, Uranus retro on the cusp from Gemini to Taurus. Uranus will also retreat back into Taurus, an earth sign here, on the 7th of November. So what's with that dynamic? And what's with the cuspy energy for starters? Cuspy energy has to do with transition from one zodiac sign to another. And typically, or lots of people who study astrology, they think in terms of these categories and like light switch, right? So from from Aries to Taurus, a whole different energy, right? So Aries being super fast, and furious, Taurus being settled and grounded. My question has always been how to describe the transition, because the transition is organic, is happening in nature. So it needs to be accounted for, and it needs to be actually also a descriptive notion for that. So, for example, the Aries Taurus point, where actually, by the way, Chiron is not far from, I call that the settling point, where all the energy, all this dynamic Aries energy settles, right? As a grounding energy. It's just literally also a rooting energy in spring when the season turns from Aries to Taurus, end of April. Then we have here from Taurus to Gemini, the voice point, where also nature speaks, the body speaks, and also we are voicing what we value, and so on and so on, right? So this voice point is really important. The emergence point is important. I haven't talked about that yet in this video. So what's going on here? Saturn has re-entered Pisces on September 1st, and Neptune now follows on October 22nd for one last episode in Pisces. Neptune has been in Pisces since 2012, right? So it's a big deal, and will fully emerge into Aries next January, end of January, January 26, 2026, followed by Saturn fully entering Aries then too on the 14th of February, and on the 20th of February they will align. And now there's a very cuspy vibe here. Neptune is literally just retreating its steps back into the ocean, back into the collective energy of Pisces. And also, so we might have to, over the winter, in the next few months with Saturn and Neptune back in Pisces, have to process a few things about what needs to be released of the collective energy field so that we can actually support the emergence of the new, which is all Aries. So we are transitioning into a new era. Saturn, Neptune entering Aries together is definitely one major marker for that, right? But now we have sort of a time to wrap up our affiliation, our connection, our entanglement, right, with the old Pisces age. What can that mean? It can mean our need for redemption. This is what Liz Green calls the Neptune archetype, having to do with the redeemer, redeeming ourselves, needing almost like a savior, something to save us, a very spiritual, not so much spiritual, but a religious notion, which Neptune can, of course, very well pose for. And to be honest here with Saturn, to be realistic and to do ourselves justice in a good way, to say in what way am I looking for an escape, looking for a way out, that is Pisces, or looking to be rescued, looking to be redeemed, needing something to go forward, forget about everything, right? Hence often the association with addictions, right? So that can be substances, behavior, you name it. And Neptune wants us to help understand how everything is connected, how this is one big energy field, a web, and how we need to release this whole notion, right? And collectivism, right? So so that we can move into a more Aries type individualism that is associated with Aquarius as well, Pluto in Aquarius. So not just an isolation, not just a lone warrior energy, but actually a freedom for the individual to find their own affiliation and connection, and not just being put into collectivist labels and feel comfortable there, but not really, right? So as a price for it. And so these very collectivist notions have, of course, played out a lot in history with division, as I said, in countries, right? If you're not with us, you're against us, and in warfare, in religious notions, right? In religions waging holy wars against each other, and so on. So beyond that, what's beyond all this collectivist energy that leads us into our free expression as human beings making our own choices? Let's look at the part of Libra, the third decanate that we're in right now, and that literally concludes with the new moon on the 21st, and that one from October 13th, also since yesterday, until the 22nd, we are in the third decanate, and that has a Gemini undertone. What does that mean? So it's a lot about the art of communication and relationship, right? Relationship. How do we convey our thoughts to one another? How do we, really build bridges? How can we be the alchemist of of different energies coming at us? So, like yesterday, I went for a walk, and literally ran into 7 people, which is super rare. And two at once, and a third came along in the very end. But I noticed you know, in a way where everybody came from with their historic background, with their ancestral background, with their choice of philosophy and life orientation. Quite a diverse group of people. It's very interesting. Different walks of life, all of that coming at me, and me being like, okay, yes, rather than going into, you don't think like me, so we have not so much to talk about, or we go into taboos, rather than we avoid taboos rather to um, be curious. This is also Gemini. Be curious, learn from one another, and find ways of talking rather than shutting down, which is also very important for the Mercury in Scorpio part, right? Currently, not shutting down, not zipping up, and controlling it all from within and becoming resentful, or creating our own story within, right? Actually being curious, learning from each other. Big factor with that Gemini. Also, it's about getting information and researching, especially with the Scorpio Mercury again, right? To help us with our choices, to make good choices as this new moon is on the horizon. And yeah, and then the moon this week. Moon now in Leo, waning moon. Today, the 14th, which is coming to a closure, all day tomorrow, the 15th, until the 16th at 11:06 a.m. The moon in Leo and sun in Libra energy in combination is really a beautiful one for art, for culture, for anything that is very, I say, yeah, creative, right? So Libra and Leo are artistic signs together with Pisces, where we have also Saturn currently and the North Node. So if we consider what's going on currently as an artistic process, and how can we create also, which is also like a alchemical notion, right? We create something, we create maybe a piece of art, a piece of journaling, a piece of writing from the experiences that are currently happening in the world and in our lives. Then Leo, of course, is also about self love. So as we are making choices, as we are associating with right relationship, um, can we do it from a self-loving place? The moon will enter Virgo, as I said, on the 16th in the late morning, be in Virgo all day, Friday the 17th, and until Saturday in the evening, also 9:01 p.m. Pacific. So most of Saturday and Friday and Saturday, and yeah, half of Thursday as well. Virgo moon in the waning moon phase is wonderful energy to clear, to tie up loose ends, to do all sorts of like alignment that can literally mean organizing or cleaning before the new moon. And just don't be overly worried. All of this has to be also releasing the worries, releasing the um, problem focus, because the moon will align with the south node, and at the same time preparing for that shift into the tipping point new moon. Then the moon will be in Libra from the evening of Saturday the 18th, all day Sunday the 19th, and of course also all day 20th. The new moon will be at 5:25 a.m. on the 21st. So Libra, Libra waning slash dark moon is again also a closure, maybe a closure of old dynamics of relationships that we've had with certain sides in our lives or certain relationships within, right? So that new choices can be made in a better, from a better place. So yeah, and next week I believe I will be coming on the 21st already for the new moon and what follows astrologically from there. You can find my articles for Venus in Libra, for Pluto going direct already on my blog, and as of here today, Tuesday, the 14th, and you will find also an article for Neptune re-entering Pisces, which is a big theme next week, and that will be the case on the 22nd. And you find, of course, also an article for the end of Libra new moon. I wish you a beautiful week, and may it be a peaceful one that prepares you really well for this new moon. Take care. Bye.